at the influencers on Instagram that maybe have, 6, 7, 8, 9, 100,000 followers. And then some of the Kardashians that have, a couple million. And then my nieces and nephews are on TikTok, and there's people with 20, 30, 40 million followers, a lot of them. And I'm like, man, is this where now things are going? So what are your thoughts or advice on what to focus on if you're trying to build your brand on social media, as far as across all the platforms, and some good and bad practices?
So again, I'll go back to the point I made earlier about outcome thinking. What's the outcome that you're after? And don't get me wrong, a lot of people are like, well, TikTok's full of like, weird young kids doing dance routines and all that kind of stuff. It's definitely become much more impactful than that, for sure. That's the multi-billion-dollar industry. I would say you don't know what you're going to be good at until you try some stuff. So by all means, go onto different platforms. So I suggest try some stuff, go onto Facebook, go onto LinkedIn, go onto Twitter, go onto Insta, go onto Medium if you're a great writer, go onto YouTube if you're good on video, start a podcast if you're good at audio. Start these things and see what gives you two things. See what gives you the most enjoyment, which is really important, because if you don't like doing stuff, you won't do it to the full potential, and see where you get the most engagement. Don't become overly reliant on a platform. Even if you get great on Insta, push them to somewhere else as well. But the other thing that I'd also suggest that people do, and is very, very underrated, especially within the business space, is that get them onto a platform you control. So get their data, get them onto a mailing list, grab their data so you can communicate with them. Because as I say, I had at one point, 4,000 connections on my Facebook personal profile. If I had, 10% of those people on board, I could easily still market to that community because they know my social proof because they've been following me. There's loads of connections where people have added me 6 months later, like, oh mate, I thought you disowned me. I've just found what happened to your profile. And nobody knew because I couldn't tell anybody because I couldn't remember how many connections I had. So yeah, make sure you got to understand that when you're on social media, or even if you're on, selling on Shopify, or you're doing FBA by Amazon or whatever, if it's a third-party site, you are always playing on somebody else's playground. And at any given second, they can pick up the ball and fuck off home with it. So you've got to make sure that at some level, you are also creating your own community, your own tribe, and you hold people's data. The value is in the data now. So I've just literally started building up a mailing list. Very, very small. I've started a couple of weeks ago. I've got 170 people on it now. But every single week, I can now mail to those people, and I control that data. No one can take that away from me. Facebook, LinkedIn, Insta, Zoom, no one can take it away from me. And now I'm using those platforms to get the data